Hello friends and enemies, welcome to, or back to, Happy For Now. It's me, Isabel, here with a new filming location. I'm still figuring out where I want to film at my mom's house when I'm here. So for now, this is our shot. We'll see how I like it. Who knows, you might see me around different places here as time permits. I did want to film outside, but it's a little noisy out today. That was kind of out of the question. But I'm here with my May wrap up and all the books I read. I had a really solid reading month. Truly, I'm kind of surprised at how good of a reading month I had in May because it was pretty busy and building up to a lot of things happening. So there's that. Anyways, we're going to talk about everything I read and all the stats and good stuff. So so let's start with my stats and let's talk about everything I read, which might surprise some of you. So first of all, I read 12 books in the month of May for a total, and DNF'd three DNFs. I didn't DNF anything in April, so I thought it was good I DNF'd 3 this month. For a total page count of 3,838 pages. My average rating was a 4.3. I had multiple 5 stars in a row. I've had multiple 5 stars in a row. One of my 5 stars is in June, but I don't know what's happening. I'm very excited about it. The audiobook hours I listened to were 113 hours of audio-ish. Every single title I read this month was an adult title. I did read 1 nonfiction. And then format-wise, I read 2 ebooks, listened to 9 audiobooks, and 1 book as a mix, as I call it, which means I was audiobooking and ebooking it, so I switched back and forth. 1.5, because there's one where I was checking where I was to sync up with someone I was buddy reading it with, so there's that. Now let's talk about everything I read. I had 3 5 stars in May. Oh my gosh. Okay, and 4, and okay, so I'm 3 in a row and 3 in this month. So first up, the very first book I finished in May was This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me by Alona Andrews. We had the live show for this. I got the group to move it so I could be there, and I'm so glad I did. This was fantastic. I'm an Alona Andrews fangirl through and through. A lot of us are. We all loved it. I think this was one of my 5 stars in May. This was so much fun. I truly had a blast with this Alona Andrews book. I really liked the isekai energy here, where she ends up in this book series she loves, but things are very different than we think and assume. I do think, like a lot of isekais, it needs a little time. I do think the intro is a little rough at times and it needs a little bit of room and space, but I will be rereading Maggie possibly this year at some point. But when I actually finally finish Alona Andrews' backlist, I will read Maggie again for sure. I really liked it. I'll be revisiting it before the next book comes out. We do not have a date for that, but this follows Maggie. She literally ends up in her favorite book world, which is a very grimdark fantasy, think Game of Thrones-esque, I would say, fantasy world. And the things she thought she knew are perhaps not the same as what is in the book and the story that she's been reading. So there's that. And it was really fun, truly very fun. So yeah, that was really, really fun in my opinion. And I just really liked the idea of this world being kind of living and breathing and changing at the end of the day. Then I read The Predator by Runix. This is in my Finish It vlog for the maybes I read last year. Hi, Millie. So this is in my maybes from last year's books, try chapters. And I finished it, and I really enjoyed The Predator. I thought it was very fun. We have a Millie now. So I thought this was really fun. It's very different. It was originally fanfic for Arrow, and I very much see that. So I did like that part about it a lot. Don't worry. So I really liked that element. I really liked the writing. I thought it was really engaging. It was it felt like a slightly different Mafia story, so that was fun. Also, I don't feel like, Mafia can get very samey, and this felt just slightly different and new. So I did really like that. Next, I read for the Scarlet Press vlog, Amid Cloud and Bones, which I actually was really surprised by. This is the Fae book in which the Fae are evil. We get some bad behaved Fae in this, and I tend to enjoy that, okay? I'm not gonna lie to you. I enjoy that. I think it's fun. Oh my god. Okay, I think it's fun. I think it's different because a lot of Fae we get now are just sexy Fae, and I like the variety, So I really enjoyed this. I thought it was fun. It was nice to read just a romantasy standalone. Also, I miss when things were just standalone sometimes. But also, I enjoy an interconnected thing, too. So, I can't completely complain. But, sometimes just plain standalone's fun. Then I read His Majesty by Sean. And this was so good. Oh, my goodness. So, this is one that I owned on my Kindle. And I was just like looking for a novella to read, and I grabbed it. I was like, yeah, we'll read this. Why not? And I'm so glad I did. I finished this and wanted to go text my friend Heather over at He Booktubes and be like, did you read this? And then I saw her review and I was like, okay, cool. We're on the same page. This very much reminded me of my favorite Christina C. Jones, which is Maybe Next Time. Is that right? The one where he like kidnaps his wife to fix their marriage. It kind of gave that vibes. This follows Majesty and her lover. She's left because she's like, you're not committed to me enough, and like, you're not giving me what I want. Like, he's not giving her the romance she wants, and he has to figure out how to do that. Yeah, that was really fun. I quite enjoyed it. Then I read a nonfiction called Jews Don't Count by David Baddiel. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Anyways, this is from a UK comedian, and it was interesting. I'm not like the person to comment on like authenticity or whatever of this. I read this for the Hardest Reading Challenge. 1, it counted for a nonfiction for me, and 2, it counted for a couple prompts I had left, like another prompt I had left, I think for Heritage Months. But this one, I was surprised. I wasn't surprised by it. I felt like it reiterated a lot of things I've had in conversations with various Jewish friends I have. So I didn't rate this. I have no real like big deep thoughts about it for you. It kind of reiterated a lot of things and stuff I've had discussed with me by Jewish friends. So yeah, there's that. It was very quick though, if you do need a nonfiction for the Hardest Reading Challenge. Then I read Smoke and Scar by Gretchen Powell Fox. This is another one for the Scarlet Press vlog. This one was good. I really am excited to read book 2 and 3 this year. This is very much like a competition fantasy book, and this follows a Fae heroine who is known as like this killer like person in a war, and a hero who's human, and them navigating this trial and competition together, and then finding out that they have to do more, hence 3 books. But I really liked this. I was left really, really surprised. One of y'all in the comments, I cannot remember who, and I should have checked, said that you also really liked this, and that got me excited to read it. And I read it and I was like, oh yes, yes, yes. I'm pumped. I understand what you're saying. Like when they said they liked it, I was like, yes, yes, me too. I like this. But yeah, that got me excited to like pick it up and more motivated. So I did, and I did audiobook it, and I quite enjoyed it. This was just really engaging. The trial elements were really fun and different. They didn't feel like the same old trials that we've read over and over, so I really, really liked that about it. Next, I read Sweet Obsession by Katie Robert, which I thought was fine. I'm really excited to wrap up the Dark Olympus. I liked Poseidon and Icarus as characters. I didn't necessarily love their romance completely. This book felt, in some ways, more focused on moving the plot forward to get us through the next 2 books than on their relationship at times, which I didn't love. But here we are. The last book has come out. I need to read Tender Cruelty still, and then I will be reading Shattered Gods, hopefully by July, and being done with the series, which is really exciting, actually. Smoke and Scar, I think, was like a 4.5, by the way. Sweet Obsession was like a 3.5, 4, somewhere in there. And then I read Evening the Score by Lexi LaFleur Brown, which I gave 3 stars. And I'm so sad. I quite enjoyed her debut. I thought it was really fun. I thought it was enjoyable. There were elements of Evening the Score that I really liked, and I felt like the end of the book pulled itself together enough that I liked that, but I didn't like everything else happening in the book. The book hinged on our main character basically like abusing this very sweet hero because his dad was a piece of shit, and it was kind of the reason her dad was unable to continue playing hockey professionally. And turns out this hero like doesn't like his dad, right? Like, it doesn't take long to be with these 2 characters and see that they don't like, he doesn't like his dad, that he is nothing like his father. And that was just like, I don't know, it was just disappointing. It was hard to read. It is going to be in a vlog you'll get probably in August where I'm reading all my NetGalley audiobooks. So there's that. But yeah, I was a little disappointed. I won't not read her next book, but we'll see what happens. Then I read Just Right by Sean because of His Majesty. I was like, let's continue this train. And this also counts for my Kindle Unlimited reading vlog I'm doing, so why not? Don't worry, you'll get a Millie shot at the end. But Just Right is a Goldilocks-inspired retelling, and it was so fun. She basically ends up accidentally asleep in these men's house. 2 of them are in a relationship, and the third one is like their best friend, and they all kind of enter into a polyamorous situation. But she drinks what she thinks is like a tea, and turns out it's a sleeping tea thing, and it knocks her out and she's passed out on the couch, and they find her there. She basically got lost in the woods. It was really fun and really just a good time. If you've not read this one and you want to read a Goldilocks retelling, or you need to read a retelling for some reason, I think this one was great. I think it's a good option. I think you'll have a blast with it. So yeah, there's that. I can't recommend it enough. And then I read I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman, and I think this is a weird girl lit fic situation. This is about a woman, or a girl, who is in this bunker. She's lived there her whole life. She came there as a baby. She doesn't remember anything, and she's raised by all these other women in the bunker, in which they're trapped and like guarded. Eventually they get out of the bunker. She's never known men though, right? Like, besides the guards who she sees, she's never understood men or like any of that. And I don't know. I don't think I rated this because I don't know what to rate it. I don't know what I think of it. I think it's an interesting piece in the conversation of dystopian fiction. I think it's a really interesting book when you know the author's background. I do think that's important here. You need to know that this is an author whose family ran away because of the Nazis. And I do feel as though this story is an obvious parallel to that situation, and, you know, what would have happened if a bunch of people were just placed in underground bunkers and left to be there after an emergency, right? Or something happened. We don't know what happened. Basically, her and the women end up adventuring in the outside because they are able to get out of the bunker. It was interesting. I sometimes feel like I'm just not the person for these books, but I didn't hate it. And I definitely, like, again, I think knowing this author's history made the book more impactful going in. This is in Kobo Plus, so if you are interested in reading it and you have Kobo Plus, it's a good way to do it. But yeah, it was an interesting novella, but it wasn't like, I don't know that it'll like stick with me long term, I guess. Like I said, I mostly think it's interesting in the conversation of dystopian books and certain things that have come out since then. But yeah, it was fascinating. Fascinating to see that this is one of the books right now that has like been circulating at least a lot on my book talk space. So then I read In a Rush by Kate Canterbury because I needed a full cleanse, like full shift change from a dystopian book, lit fic. And I devoured this in about 24 hours and I had a blast. This was a 6-star read for me. I continue to love Kate Canterbury. I think In a Jam's still my favorite in this series so far, but I really liked In a Rush. This one follows a childhood friends to lovers. They were like best friends in high school and stuff, and she just assumed he was not attracted to her. Well, it turns out they made a promise that when they were 30, they would get married if they both were still single, and he turns 30. And he's like, all right, let's do this. It is time to proclaim my attraction to you and like make this happen. And she's a teacher and living in this like condemnable space almost in her apartment. So he's like trying to buy the building. He's trying to fix it, you know, kind of forces her and her roommate, who is her like step sister, to move in with him. And it's just really cute and sweet. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was fun. She like didn't want to take his money, but also at the same time took his money. So that also worked for me because I do get annoyed when they don't take the money. Like, he is this rich and famous football player. Like, take his money, damn it. Take his money. But she also came from money technically. And like she has a really shitty relationship with her dad that ends up kind of recovering during some of this because things come out and things are healed that had happened prior, we'll say. Not fully. I'm not going to say like her dad is fully forgiven for what he did, but I do think they had begun like working past the situation. But yeah, this was really fun, really cute. It's swoon worthy, as all Kate Canterbury seem to be for me. So there's that. All right, last but not least, the last book I read in May was Savor It by Tara DeWitt. I finished this like on the 31st. So literally the last book I read in May. And I had a blast. I really liked Savor It. I think I get it. I get this Tara DeWitt love. I get her popularity now because I've been hesitant, you know, to pick it up. This is also a part of my NetGalley audiobook vlog. But what I will tell you here is this is about a girl who's raised by her brothers and a new neighbor moves in, and it's this hot chef from New York and his niece who only has him really left, and her grandparents. And she's lost her parents, and our heroine Sage has also lost her parents. So she and Indy, the niece, bond. She and the niece bond kind of over that, and I think she becomes a place of comfort for that niece. But also our hero is like depressed and kind of navigating a lot, and he finds a lot of joy with her, and they have this relationship that is only supposed to last through the summer that he's there. And that's what happens. He leaves at the end, but it's a romance. So some things happen. I don't want to reveal all of it. And of course they end up together and it's so cute. But I really just had a good time with this. I think this was such a fun book. It was so enjoyable to read. The writing is really quick and snappy. It's nice. It feels like, so as a longtime romance reader, there was a time in which there were a lot of romance books I felt like you could sit down and read in this sitting. And Tara DeWitt is writing those kinds of romance books, in my opinion. She is writing the one sitting romances again, like we used to get, which means it's under 350 pages or under 400 pages. You know, the audiobooks was 9 hours, which is just nice. It's helpful when that happens, and I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was just so fun. I'm really excited to read Left of Forever, and I do have Lost and Found as an arc, so I most likely will be diving through these, but you will get like full me reading it thoughts in that vlog in July or August whenever I finish all those books, so we'll see what happens. Anyways, that's all I got for you right now. I would love to know what you read and loved in the month of May. And if you don't want to do that, you can leave me a cleaning emoji of your choice, because today begins my declutter project, which is me going through a lot of stuff that my dad accumulated in the garage. Get excited, y'all. I don't think I'm vlogging this process or anything. I don't know. We'll see. You might get some B-roll. But on that note, I will have links to all these books for you down there, links to my friend anywhere on the internet, and I will talk to y'all in just a few days. Here's a Millie B-roll before the end. Don't worry.
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions, we'll get away. This is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out.